What's up, everybody? This is Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and I have another episode of Kicking Back with Cat. And today I have an absolutely fabulous guest with me today. Her name is Mia Friday. How are you today?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm always super grateful for everybody who agrees to come on and just chat with me. So, I guess my first question for you is I know you just recently kind of started with wrestling, I believe 2020. So you're pretty like recent into this. So how has the ride been so far as getting the hang of being in the ring and traveling? How has that been for you?
I mean, it started off rocky just because I made my debut in September of 2020, which is like just whenever things were starting to open back up from the pandemic. So like we were still like under like COVID guidelines and everything. So like a lot of promotions weren't open. So it was kind of hard to like accelerate at like the same speed that like an indie wrestler normally would. But like eventually, like as things like started like opening back up again, I was able to like get out and start traveling. And I mean, like 2021, that was pretty much the year where I finally got to like break out into Texas and people got to start knowing my name and everything. And it's been fun, you know. I got to work for Row, got to work for Dog Pound on this past Friday. So, you know, just a lot of different cool places that I've been able to go since then.
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic is a really weird time. I was just talking about this earlier with a friend of mine. Just it's I guess crazy how things, you know, one minute everything's fine and it's not, and you kind of have to navigate around what's new, I guess, with everything. So definitely understand as far as trying to get your start when everything's kind of still like, you know, trying to work out what's happening. So what got you into wanting to wrestle? And like, what was your moment for you when you was like, this is definitely something I want to do, especially being so young? What was that moment for you that you're like, this is what I want to do?
That specific moment, I was in person for it. It was WrestleMania 32, and I was 10 years old at WrestleMania 32, and it was Sasha versus Becky versus Charlotte, and I think it had to be like somewhere in the middle of the match or during Sasha's entrance, but like I can pinpoint that exact moment that I knew like this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, you know. Like I can pinpoint like that exact day. That just changed my life, you know. Like I just couldn't, like after that night, I couldn't picture myself like being anything else but a wrestler.
Nice. That was actually a pretty solid match. That was a really good match. So, would you say any of those ladies are like somebody you look up to, or like favorite wrestlers, or who is your favorite wrestler? Like somebody that you had to watch every match, you had to like go to signings or have posters, if that's still a thing.
Sasha Banks, because like I always grew up like John Cena being my favorite, but like back then I didn't want to like be a wrestler. But once I saw Sasha Banks, I kind of saw myself in her a little bit. I'm like this gives me inspiration that like I can do it. Like I always saw John Cena as like a Superman. Like you can't ever be a John Cena. But I see Sasha Banks and I'm like maybe this could be something that I can do. Like I can like grow up to be like her, you know. So that's what like gave me the inspiration that like I could like become a wrestler. So I was just inspired by her. I loved everything about her, you know. And I stood in those WrestleMania access lines, you know, to meet her and everything. And I got right to the front and they had to take her away. I was so mad. And
oh
so
my God.
Meet her. But like recently, like I think like a month ago, she just like randomly liked one of my posts on Instagram. I didn't tag her or nothing, and she just for some reason liked it. And so I was like freaking out, like sending it to all my friends, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's such a big!" But it was so cool that she somehow found me after all these years of me trying to meet her when I was little. So that was really cool.
Listen, we're gonna manifest this, okay? Like you can meet her, you can let her know like how much you love her and everything. That I would be devastated if that was me though. So I understand. Like I would be devastated. Have you had a chance to watch her episode for WWE Evil, which kind of breaks down her getting into the heelish role?
Oh no, I haven't gotten to watch that yet. What's it all about?
Also, I guess WWE has like a documentary called WWE Evil, and so they have certain heels. And so I believe there's Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Stephanie McMahon, and Sasha Banks is on there as well. And I actually watched it last night, and really, really good. Like as far as her breaking down like how she decided to kind of tweak her gimmick and really turn that up for WWE, and it's really, really like interesting. I definitely think like being a fan, you would like it, and I appreciate her even more. Like just listen to her, like this is what I needed to do. I mean, I always respected her, but I felt like watching that just really clicked. Like, you know what? I respect that you're doing everything by whatever means necessary. So I respect that so much. So I think if you can, definitely check that one out if you can. So I know you had a couple of matches. I know you fought Roxy, and Killer Kate, I believe. So how was that for you? Like just being able to step in with different types of wrestlers in the ring.
That was really fun and definitely a learning experience because whenever I worked like Roxy, Killer K, Danny B, like whenever you work those girls, like you work them at least like 4 or 5 times. It just ends up happening because I don't know. You just like you just always end up working the same women's wrestlers like at least 3 times. It just always ends up happening. And so whenever you get to like work with them more than once, you start getting more comfortable with them, and then you can start trying new things because like when I broke out into wrestling, like I started like fighting the guys because I was the only girl at my school. Like there was no other like girl trainees or anything. And so like whenever it was time for me to start facing women's wrestlers, it was like me being a few months in facing like these already top stars in Texas. So like I feel like those moments is like what contributes to the person that I am today, like having those matches, learning from like those veterans and everything and trying new things. I feel like I owe a lot of my success to today to all the stuff that they've done for me.
And how would you like, I guess, describe your wrestling persona? Like we know some people completely revamp who they are, but then some people kind of just turn up what they are already and just kind of dial it up 100 times to kind of give that larger than life, you know, attitude to the wrestling fans who's there watching them. So how did you come up as far as like with your gimmick and kind of like portray that as a wrestler to the fans?
I think I think my character is just like it's a certain part of me turned all the way up because like people who like know me in real life, they know like it depends on how you know me, because if you know me from school, then like I am not like a happy fun person. I'm not bright at all. I am not having a great time. But if you know me from like from family or from like band or something, then like like I'm just trying to have a good time. So like it's just like the part of me that wants to have a good time just like turned all the way up. So like I come out, I have the Nicki Minaj theme song, like I'm all energetic, like that's like it's the energetic part of me turned all the way up. I'm just trying to have a great time, trying to just put a smile on everybody else's faces.
Yeah, I got to see a few of your matches, and you're always just really energetic in the ring. That's something I actually like when I'm seeing wrestlers because, like, get me invested. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what they do next. And so I really appreciate like that as far as that you bring to the ring. It's just really, really energetic. And I know, I mean, if this is still your finisher move, I think one of your finishers is a Black Friday, which I think is a really awesome name for a move. So how did you come up with like the name for it as far as having that particular move be your one of your finishers?
Um, that's a really good question. I feel like it just happened. Like, I think it happened at the same time that I came up with Mia Friday. Like, whenever I came up with Mia Friday, like one of the first thoughts I had was like, oh, I can do like Black Friday. I can do like Friday Night Lights Out. Like, I can have all these different names for it and everything. So I think it's just one of those things that just came along with it and worked so well. And like when I came up with Mia Friday, that was the main goal. Like, whenever I was making my character, I'm like, what's something that I can do that I can like play the most off of, like with merchandise, which with names, catchphrases, with everything.
Yeah, I love like I used to work retail, unfortunately, and so Black Friday is also just a really stressful time period for retail. So I thought that was actually a really awesome name to have because I feel like this like for a retail work, it can be really like devastating, like stressful, and but like for your opponent, it can be kind of devastating. And so I actually really appreciate it. So this is such a nice spin on this, like a better view of the Black Friday normally, because listen, so that is like super awesome. I love that. How would you describe your wrestling style for like somebody who hasn't seen you wrestle before? How would you describe as far as your in ring style when you're like going against an opponent?
Well, more recently, for like the past like 3 or 4 months, I've been trying to like build myself up as like a technical wrestler, like a submission specialist, kinda. And I think a lot of that stems from after I did my whole program with Killer Kate at Lions Pride. Because before that, like I just like grew up at Lions Pride learning whatever moves the guys learned, because I was the only girl. So I just
Yeah.
I did sidewalk slams, I did the double axe, which is like the oldest move in pro wrestling history. And I just did really, really basic stuff. But after I did my feud with Killer Kate, and like I was just so like inspired by like her style. I'm like, oh my goodness, submissions are so cool. And being a technical wrestler is so cool because like it feels so dangerous. Like you could just sneak anything out of nowhere. So more recently, I've just been building up that like I can find a reversal out of any submission. I can grab it out of nowhere. And so that's basically what I've been trying to do for these past few months. Just be like a technical, quick pins, chain wrestling. Like that's who I want to be.
Yeah, Killer Kate's actually really awesome too. I definitely like her style. So I think I do like submission wrestling. I feel like I got into it as an adult though. Like before, I used to be like, listen, too much happening. Like, why do you have to be so extra harsh with this or mean? And so as a kid, I hated it, but as an adult, I actually really enjoy technical wrestling. I think there's so much you can kind of play off with technical wrestling, so that's pretty cool. So, is there anybody you want to wrestle that you haven't had a chance with? Like top three people you want to wrestle that you haven't had to wrestle yet?
You said top three?
Yes.
Okay.
Like if you could pick three people you want to just step into the square circle with, who would those people be?
Okay, these aren't in any specific order, but one of them for sure is Lainey Luck because like I love because obviously she's just so good at technical wrestling, she's so good at lucha wrestling, and she also has like that same thing as me with like bringing the energy and just like doing really like funny, happy, like just really silly stuff. And I love people who like combine just like straight up just amazing wrestling, but also have that fun little character to it. And so I feel like just like wrestling her, it'd be so much fun just like face and face. We just go back and forth doing just
Yeah.
really silly stuff. And then also Billy Starks. And I said this before on like different podcasts or whatever, but like it's just one of those matches where it just needs to happen. I hear it all about it on Twitter, people tell me about it. They're like, hey, do you know Billy Starks? She's like young and she's like really good. I'm like, I know her. She's amazing. Shoot. I just gotta wait for her to come back to Texas so I can get that match with her. I want it so bad though. And a third one, I think I've only said this like once before, but I really, really want to work Kylie Ray. I think that would just be really cool. I don't know how possible it is, but it would just be so amazing and so much fun.
All three of those women are like absolutely amazing, and I got to interview Billy Starks last year, I believe, and she's just I told her just so talented and just able to kind of work both every opponent. I just appreciate her being so young, and I just hope that she just have so many more success with everything. Because she's cool. So I would love to see the two of you guys are wrestling. And Kylie Ray is actually pretty amazing. Like she's a really good wrestler as well. So I would love to see that. Like we're gonna just manifest all of this. Just manifestation. Okay, make it happen. Universe, make this happen. Okay? So I know you also play drums. I believe you're in a band. So how did that come about as far as I guess your love for instruments and music and musicians, but as far as getting into a band and
Um, well, my love for like getting into like playing music and everything, I think it came from the pandemic because during the pandemic, when I was just sitting at the house, that's when I started getting into heavy metal. And so I would just stay up all night, just like watching concerts, watching Slipknot, Metallica, just like all these like really energetic, just crazy concerts. And I'm like, I want to be the person conducting those mosh pits, like I want to be
stuff.
and why people are turning up so much. And then so eventually, whenever I was able to, I joined School of Rock which is a music school in Bryan, and I started playing drums. And from then, I eventually left School of Rock, but I met a couple of other students from there, and eventually we just all ended up forming like our own little separate band outside of that. And so far, it's been just turning out good. Like I didn't know what to expect. Like starting my own band, I didn't know like how bands are supposed to come up. I don't know if it's like wrestling where like you have to be in training and then you get on a show or whatever. But no, we've been doing great, and we've been getting like 2 or 3 shows a month, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. My oldest daughter does bass guitar. And so I was telling her, I was like, listen, you got to get out there and just like play and showcase your talent. I think she's like really awesome because she learns so quickly. And I'm like, I can't do any of that. And so it's always really nice to see, like, especially, Black girls or women of color just kind of getting into, all types of music, all types of genres. I think that's super awesome. And so I thought that was pretty cool. So would you say it's hard to kind of balance like the band stuff and then you have school, but wrestling? How do you maintain and like balance and still have kind of time for just yourself to have like some self care or to recharge? How do you do that?
I maintain it horribly. It is the worst thing going on in my life right now. It's so that's like my main issue is just loving so many things at once and wanting to do it all, but then it's just you don't have that much time. Like one of my just I always say all the time that I just wish I had more time in the day. I wish there was more hours in the day. But yeah, I'm just learning as I grow up to just learn how to manage my time. And I feel like it is possible to manage, but you just got to learn how to manage your time. And that's one of the things that's made me like mature so quickly is that I have to learn how to adapt to all these things. I need to like learn what to cut out. So like no video games, no just scrolling through Instagram all night. I got to take care of business. So it's one of those things I'm just learning as I go. But I mean, I wouldn't change anything. I love every single thing that I do, and just it's a lot of hard work that goes into everything, but just that feeling whenever you get to wrestle, or that feeling when you get to play on stage with band and everything, it's just worth it.
I mean, yeah, I haven't gotten better with main listen. Like 2020, I think made it a little hard at one point because you kind of stuck with too much time, and then you kind of do a bunch of things, and then when things kind of get back to normal, you're like, wait, I done too much stuff. I'm doing way too much now. I kind of overbooked myself, overextended myself, and so I'm working on saying no sometimes. Sometimes I'd be like, yeah, I can do it, and then I'm like, wait a minute, why did I book this at the same time, and then stressed. So I mean, you're also younger though, so you probably just like whatever, go with the flow. But definitely like understand, just kind of do what you need to do. What would you say is like your favorite like type of music? I know you mentioned heavy metal, but like who's like your top bands that you
like? That's a really hard question because like my favorite like artist would have to be Slipknot and Nicki Minaj. And I don't know if there's any like I don't know what to describe this. So like heavy metal and like rap, like I enjoy rap, but mainly it's just Nicki. But with a little bit of everything. And then more recently I've been getting into like indie pop and everything. It's a little bit all over the place, But definitely like heavy metal, hard rock, like all those different like subgenres of metal and rock. I just love those so much. And I don't know what it is. It's just one of my favorite things to do. And like you said, just like not that many, like you see like Black women getting into those kind of things. And so, I mean, yeah, it's just me.
So how would you describe the sound of your band? Like what would, if you had to put them in like a genre, where would your band fit?
Horrible. We sound awful. No, but we that's actually one of the biggest things we've been discussing lately because it's so much. And like the bio for our Instagram, it's really funny. It says like shoegaze, punk pop, grunge. Like it's really funny, but like we're basically like someone compared us to like early Nirvana kind of, where it's like a lot of noise and like a lot of people hate it because it just sounds like noise, but there's that small like population that's like, oh my god, this is so cool. But especially like the town that we live in, like the main thing is just like country music and indie pop and all that. So we come in here just loud, annoying, screaming, we're high pitched, really loud drums to the point where you can't hear vocals. So like you just gotta, there's like a certain population that we have here that just really enjoys it, but the majority, they're just like, this is just noise, I can't listen to this. So yeah, we're all over the place. The genre is basically just noise.
What that's like, I guess because you said you really wanted to wrestle, like that's something you really want to do and kind of stick with that for a while. So could you see yourself kind of like multi doing this? Like you got your full time wrestling happening, but also like I'm gonna do my band stuff. Could you see yourself doing both, kind of like well enough that it's like kind of balanced out, where you kind of do shows one day or like some part of the week you're doing shows, and then the next minute you're kind of just jamming out and having a super awesome like session, in front of an audience.
See, that's what a lot of people ask me is like, can you see yourself like doing like full time of both, like whenever you're older and everything? And it's like, because they're always like, oh, you can just be a Chris Jericho. And I'm like, I could, but like, I'm already stressed out now about it. I don't know if I'm going to be stressed for the rest of my life about it. Because like more like one of the things is that like almost every single band show that I've done, I've drove like straight from a wrestling show to band. Like I played concerts in my gear, like full boots and everything. Like it's just been really stressful. But like if I could find a way to like manage that and like control like the exact dates that I could do those band shows, then like I would so do that. Because they just like, I feel like it depends, because I have to get big enough to where I'm allowed to like pick my own dates. But right now it's just, we're just getting whatever we can get. But if I could, I'd want to do like band on Friday and then wrestling on Saturday, like that's what the kind of stuff I want to do. And we'll just have to see, like I'd love to do it, but I mean, you just got to see about it.
Okay, I mean, you don't want to be more stressed, but if you can do both things that you love, that's amazing. But you don't want to be like overly stressed, and then you're like, oh. Like you don't want that. So, has there been any advice that you have been given as far as in your career that you kind of still hold to your heart to this day since you started?
That's a really good question. Some advice. Well, actually, this morning I was on the phone with one of my friends, and I got probably like something like some of the best advice that I could have heard, and that is to like never. This isn't the exact wording, but it's kind of like never stop watching as a fan, because like whenever you start training, most trainers will tell you to stop watching wrestling as a fan, and like every single time that you like watch Monday Night Raw or whatever, or AEW, you need to like study every match, study their footwork, study the psychology. And like that's cool and everything, but like you don't want to lose your passion from wrestling. You don't want to get bored of that, because I went through the phase for the longest where like I threw away all my wrestling shirts, I threw away all of my merch and everything, and then I tried to just be super serious about every single match that I watched. And then I just like I wanted to quit wrestling at some point, because just I got so sick of it. I'm like, this feels like a hobby. It doesn't feel like my passion.
Yeah.
It feels like a job. It doesn't feel like my passion anymore.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my friend was telling me like, you can still study it. So just like watch it as a fan and then go back later and study it. Don't like still like enjoy that feeling that you get from it, because that's what like should inspire you and motivate you. So I really I think that just was some advice that I think is something that I need to just work on a lot. So it really helped me out.
It's great that you said that, because I feel like mentioning the Sasha Banks thing again, I feel like she mentioned that at the end of the episode, just kind of making sure you can kind of keep your passion for wanting to do this and wanting to stop doing. So that's great advice. I feel like, yes, as somebody who works, I guess, in like wrestling media, and you're like, oh God, and then like it gets tiring, because you're like, you're watching so much wrestling that you're like, geez, like that one day I'm like, listen, I'm not watching nothing, I don't do no wrestling today, I just need a minute, because it's a lot. So I can definitely understand, as far as if you're just doing studying, how that can kind of change your love for it. So what do you want for, I guess, yourself in your career like 5 years from now?
5 years from now? 5 years from now, I just want to be just like the best version of myself that I can be. Because like something that I struggle with is just like trying to like discover, I guess, like what path I want to go. Like, what do I really want, you know? Because like I have a lot of goals and dreams and everything, but it's kind of hard to just like narrow it down to one thing. Like I said before, like I have a passion for so many different things. I have a love for so many different things. So like in my wrestling goals, I want to do this, and then I just get overwhelmed when like trying to figure out like what I want to work for and everything. So
Yeah.
I think something that I just really want to do is I just want to be a better wrestler. I just want to be, I want to have like match of the night. I want to earn the respect of like fans. I want to earn the respect of people in the back. And I just, yeah, like I have all these goals and everything, but I think the main thing is just I want to be a better wrestler. I want to be a really great wrestler.
Love that. So we're gonna do a really, really quick speed round. I'm gonna ask you a question. You tell me the first thing that pops in your
Okay.
head. Okay, last show you binged watch.
Last show I binged watch. I don't watch TV.
Okay, last song you had on repeat.
Last song I had on repeat. There's a song called Surrounded by Wage War. It goes like, "We are not the same, I don't live for others' opinion." It's really good.
I'm gonna keep that second list. I always try to hear different songs just because my taste is all over the place, and so I like so many different that I'm just like, listen, if it's good, I'll listen to it. So put that in the. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night Out.
Okay. One snack you always have to have no matter what.
Sour gummy worms everywhere I go. Every single road trip to
If you could have any superpower, what would that be and why?
the power to read minds, specifically boys, because I feel like boys be playing with me all the time, and I really appreciate it, and it makes me mad and it makes me sad. So I wish I could read their minds to understand, because like a lot of the times I'll just be like oh my god, boys are so stupid and ignorant. But sometimes I wonder like I wonder like what are they actually thinking? I wonder like I'm just curious.
I mean, I feel like even when they get older, you're still just like, what? So I don't know. I don't know if it gets better, but I'm hoping. But just the guys I know my age bracket, I'm just like, so, but I understand. I definitely kind of want to know, like, because you just, we over. I mean, I overthink. I think about everything all the time, and so I don't know if that's just me, but definitely understand that. If you were stuck on an island and you could take three things, what three things would that be?
If I could take three things on an island, I'm trying to think back to the last Naked and Afraid episode I watched. Okay, so I need like a fire starter. I know that for sure. That's good. And then maybe bringing like machetes. I don't know what those do, but I should have. And then a cell phone so I can call my mom and she can come pick me up.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that could work. I feel like until your mom gets there, right? So you have warmth, protection. And so I respect that list. I respect that. And if you can have the last speed round question, if you can have any dream tag team partner, who would that be and why?
Oh my gosh. Okay, dream tag team partner. I'm gonna say Roxy. Every single podcast when someone brings up something like that, like I always say Roxy. Like literally, my entire mind is just a love letter to Roxy. I love her so much. She is so perfect. Love her so much. She's so sweet. She's awesome. Greatest wrestler on the planet. Yes.
Roxy is most certainly super amazing, so I'm gonna have to agree with you there. So that would be cool. I feel like you guys will complement each other if you're the tag team. That's all right. I can say we're just manifesting stuff, okay? Manifesting. So I'm gonna give you the floor to kind of just tell the audience what do you have coming out. What do they have to look up to or look forward to coming from
you? Just be on the lookout for big stuff. There's some big stuff coming up. Can't say it right now, but it's big. I'm like like those really like cryptic like Facebook posts that are like I got some really big things coming out, but I can't tell y'all right now. But I just want to thank God for this moment. That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm not. Yes.
And then the person who's like reading is like, wait a minute, like this sounds kind of stressful. Like, is this bad? Is this good? You're like, yeah, I'm the person that will overthink that whole status and be like, so should I message you? Be like, are you alright? That would be me. So, but yeah, okay, that's great. So listen, everybody, like something big is happening. Just be aware. Just follow social media. Actually, where can everybody find you? To make that much easier, like where can they find you on social media?
So my Instagram is It's Me a Friday. Twitter, It's Me a Friday. I have a Facebook page. I have a YouTube, and so y'all can keep up with me on all of those. I'm very active, and y'all can keep up with all my different stuff there. And yeah, just go support me on all those different outlets, because in 2022, social media is just so important for independent wrestler. That's just one of our like main just it's really helpful. So just go support us on all of those.
And also, because her band has a page as well, definitely go and subscribe to that. And if you can get to a show, please do. Please support. Again, there's not many Black women in rock type bands. I think that's, again, super amazing. So please go support. Thank you so much, Nia, for coming on. This was a really fun interview. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And until next time, guys, I will have all the links in the description. Catch you guys later. Bye.